pretty... Can you turn me down? I've got a lot of feedback. We had a good time doing it, though. It wasn't that bad. I lost a couple stairs through town. I saw him go off the trailer, and I'm like, I ain't stopping. And so I told them, I'm like, hey, listen, I know where they went, but if you want to go get them, they're in the middle of the road. I know where they are. But well, yeah, we did not go back for them. Yeah, you're fine. The only thing I was worried about was if there's any spurs in the wood. I was like, oh, that's a flat tire for somebody, but not me. It's behind me. So, all right. I know today is a little different just because of it's Labor Day. This is a traveling church, isn't it? Like if you have an opportunity to leave, you just pretty much get out.
I think it has something to do with the preacher.
I know who's in the sermon. I'm going to work it in. I just don't know how. I'm working it right out of my head. Where can I put Barry Odell in? Yeah, so we had a great week. It was this week, right, Sal? We went to New Mexico?
Yes.
It's been one of those weeks. Yeah, Wednesday we got up. I got a message from my son and said, hey, baby is coming for sure. We had a false alarm, and then baby is here. He is doing well. Hatley Diggs. Hatley Diggs. Not Hadley. Don't say Hadley around me. Hatley Diggs. You know where he got Diggs from? From a saddle maker out of Post, Texas. I'm like, come on. But there he is. Yeah. But he likes, I think I'm going to call him Diggs.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him Diggs.
Definitely not after Trayvon. Definitely not.
What's that?
It was definitely not after the football player.
No, it is not after the football player. It is not. But 9 pounds, 20 and a half inches long. When I finally got to see my daughter-in-law, when I finally got to see her, it was hours afterwards. She said these words, I blame you. And so I was like, well, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're feeling better. And I'll leave. So usually I don't hold newborns, but I got to hold him, and he looks like me, and I'm just so excited. So you'll see the pictures, I'm telling you. It's like, oh. So, all right, let's get into this. Last week, we're on chairs. We're talking the woman's side. The first part of this was couple, talking about guys, how do you love your wives? On the other side of this now, we're looking at the respect side of ladies, how do we show that respect to men? Chairs represents what? Go ahead, C.
Conquest.
Huh?
Conquest.
Conquest. Okay, what does that mean? Because again, I really wish he used different wording and such on this, but that's okay. But when he talked about conquest, kind of gives off a really false vibe. But what is he talking about there when he says conquest?
Work.
Huh?
Work.
Yeah, he's talking about work. You know, we are really rooted in work, you know, and we kind of talked about that before of, you know, when guys get together, the first question we ask, what do you do? Or if you were asked the question, you know, tell me about yourself, we always start with what? We always start with work. This is what I do for a living. Work is really important to us. It defines us. And, you know, I was told at a very young age that, you know, I'm not only just told to do, you know, provide for your family and such, but, man, it's just ingrained in us, isn't it, guys? Our work really defines us and is who we are. So we want to make sure that we show that appreciation and say thank you. And my wife even asked me this question when we were talking about this. You probably remember. She asked me, is it different for me to say I appreciate what you do for me or I respect what you do? And what was that answer? You remember?
No.
It was I respect. Appreciate, man, thanking me I like it, but man, I respect what you do, and I respect what you're doing for us and for our family and providing for our family. Appreciate, man, I can do the dishes and you appreciate it, and I can, do things around. I appreciate it, but when work is ingrained and it defines who I am, this is a big deal. H? Yes, hierarchy. So go ahead and talk to me about that. What does that mean? Whenever you're ready. Come on. See, all of our good ones are gone. Diane is not here to tell on Jay, and there's a couple. They had to go there and watch A&M lose. We can FaceTime them. How many of you are A&M fans? Go ahead, raise your hand. You got a ring and everything? You have a ring? Sorry for your loss. In your own house. So hierarchy, what is he talking about? Hey, did you guys see that Abilene Christian almost beat the Texas Tech? Anybody watch that game?
Some people were at the game.
Some people were at the game? Who? Point out. What? You're Tech fans?
Yeah, but we gave a few scratches.
We have no football player, so we were there.
Are you a Tech fan too?
No.
I'm a both, but mostly.
What are you? You Tech?
Yeah, I have 3 degrees from Tech. They paid for it.
I have so much to say, but I'm just going to let it ride. All right, hierarchy. Hierarchy. When you talk about hierarchy, what is it? You remember what he was talking about? Go ahead, give me those words that he's talking about.
Protect.
Yeah, protect and provide. Right? Protect and provide. I want to protect my family. I want to provide for my family. Hierarchy doesn't mean I'm better than you. This is just, again, this is how we are ingrained. So chair CHA, we have A here. We didn't really talk about this. What is it? Yeah, so talk to me about that. What was this about?
Appreciates.
Uh-huh. Yeah, appreciate what?
His desire to serve
Desire to serve, SER. And to lead. Yeah. Talk to me about this. We did not get into that last week. We kind of stopped, and I think we talked maybe a little bit, but guys, talk to me about this right here. Our desire to serve and to lead. What did you get out of the chapter?
Well, kind of like where it talked about where the authority isn't just by default, I'm the man, I'm taking care of everything. It's recognizing skill sets and being able to, like I said, that the serving part of it is kind of like you're talking about, like you and Sally saying, like me and Jolie. Jolie is much better at that and handling the finances. So
Right.
That's her skill set. Much
Yeah.
better at, so of course I'm fine to let her do that.
Absolutely.
Jonathan, I think this is something that all men strive for and enjoy and want to do, both serve and lead at the same time when we can as well. I feel like it's something we all strive to do, and we can all do well at times. And it's, some of us, are a little bit more into that at times than others are, just depending on situations in life. Some of us are on different wavelengths on that a little bit sometimes, and so we all need to understand that that's where we're all headed, and finding that balance is what's most important in our lives.
Mm-hmm. What defines a good leader to you? What defines a good leader to you?
Somebody who does what they expect everybody else to do.
Okay, somebody who will do what everybody else is doing, right? I had, I think I've used this example with you guys before. I had crew chiefs over the years. I put up tents when I was all the way through high school and all the way through college. That's what I did in the summer. I came home, and I started putting these tents up, right? I mean, really elaborate stuff. Loved the job. But the crew chiefs that worked beside me, it just didn't tell me what to do. I worked twice as hard for them. The day was better. I appreciated them. I appreciated our relationship that we created. And then if he said to me, hey, I want you to do this, that I go, fine. Well, what was my reaction? Okay, I'll go get it off the truck. All right? My best friend and I, we were Lug Nut. That was what our nickname was. So they're like, Nut, Nut, let's go. And the two of us would get up. I was Lug, he was Nut. Okay? So it was just easier. We always went together. But our crew chiefs appreciated our attitudes. We didn't gripe, we didn't complain. We knew what the work had to be done, and we got it done. Those are the crew chiefs that I love. I had other crew chiefs that I did not appreciate at all. I had zero respect for. They sat there and they just said, you do this, you do this, you do this.
You feel certain, was he loving you nut?
No, I'm Lug, he's not.
Okay.
Do you think I'm nuts?
No, I was just making sure that those weren't adverse. So,
I want to ask why, but I'm going to let it go.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
One little thing I have to say about this.
Uh-huh.
I think a good leader is one that can both appreciate and listen to their employees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's one thing. And on the second thing, they are willing to get in there and help their employees do the work that they're asking their employees to do.
Right.
And in both of those ways, you can show love and, you can be a servant leader to the people in there.
And I think also that he talked about in that chapter that, you can't have two CEOs, right? Companies don't do that. You have somebody who understands the company, what the company's supposed to do, and you have that CEO that wants to lead that company because he understands this is my company. This is what I want my company to look like. But does that just mean that we sit here and we just say, we're the boss, you listen to me, and this is what we're going to do? Well, no, we just kind of talked about that. We understand where what our spouses are better at, right? And we understand who they are. We lead by example. But one thing that I found out about leadership is there's something that's attached to it. You know what it is? Responsibility. It's responsibility. He talks about that in the book too. You want the leadership, that's fine, but the responsibility comes with it. That was one of the major things I sat down with, even with my son when he was about to get married, and I said, do you understand the responsibility? Oh, Dad, I'm in love. I don't care if you're in love. Do you understand the responsibility that you're about to say, and you're about to take this woman away from her family, and it is your responsibility not just to provide for her, like with your work. I know his work ethic. I've seen him work. He can probably outwork most of you in here. I know that he wants to provide. I know he wants to protect. When I saw him in the delivery, the baby's born, and he was freaking out because his baby's screaming, right, over here. His wife is not doing great. She had to take care. And he's like, Dad, I didn't know what to do. And I was like, did anybody panic but you in the room? He goes, no, the doctors and nurses, they were just fine. I was like, because it's fine, right? It's like, they've seen all this. They know how to take care of your wife, and they're not making your baby cry. They're getting them ready to be in this world. But there's that provide and protect that he was just freaking out. That's what I'm supposed to do, and I didn't know what to do. I'm amazed he didn't pass out, to be really honest, after that moment. But there's a responsibility that we're supposed to have, and we got to take that responsibility extremely important. So it's not just the physical things, but the responsibility of spiritual things as well. That's really what he gets into, right, in these next couple of chapters that he talks about, is the insight and such. But it's, so C-H-A-I, so this is insight. So talk to me about this. Hey, let me ask you a quick question on this, the leading thing. How do you crush a man on this? How do you crush him that he won't lead? Ladies, guys? I'm really missing Diane. I'm telling you. She kind of gets it going, right?
Criticize leadership decisions.
What do you?
Criticize.
Oh, criticize. Okay, criticize. Criticize the decisions he makes. Yeah, 100%.
We call them out in front of other people.
Call him out in front of other people. Give me an example. What would it sound like?
Well, the example they used in the book about when they were touring
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
house, and she just made a comment, you need to get another job.
Yeah, make more money because this is what I want. Any other ways?
I mean, I think it's maybe not directly, but, and men do it too, but when you get a group of women together, and then they start, oh, usually my husband is my, and then they start tearing down their own husband. Like, maybe their husband doesn't even hear that, but that's still their thought process when they go home, is how bad are these men? How bad is my husband? And that starts eroding that relationship. Again, men do it too.
100%.
But like those toxic relationships,
Yeah.
hopefully we are supporting each other's marriages and not, like, if we're in a place like that, that we're not feeding that.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, no, like, yeah, he's great. Nice. He's a guy who's stupid, but he's great.
Yeah, we're brainless, but we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know what you're saying, because also, you know, I like what you're saying, that you take that home, and that's your mindset when you get home. But now, however you're talking to, how do they see you on Sunday morning? I know what Jeremy did. I can't believe he's worshiping Jesus, and I know what that attitude was. What did you just do? Right? What are we creating? And we're both guilty. And I'm going to jump on that really, and we do the same thing. Is there moments you need somebody to talk to and go, he's driving me nuts. What do I do? Okay, those two are together on this because they're laughing and looking at each other. Okay? Just look away, man. Just look your eyes down. There's moments we need that, but we can turn it around and say, now how do you build it back up instead of tearing it down, right? I hear you. This is how I dealt with it, or how do we deal with that? It's a really good point, and I love it, because we can destroy not just into their face, but also behind the backs, and we do both do it. We've got to make sure we don't do it. Okay, insight. This one, this is did you like the chapter?
No, because I don't like when I get counseled.
You don't like when you get counseled? Okay. I read it, I listened to it. I listened to it on the way home from her last night, and I was like, I better listen to this again. And so I listened to it, I'm like, man, he's kind of harsh. Anybody else feel like that? Ladies, feel that? No? Anybody? I know who's not reading. Okay.
I built it a little from the woman's perspective. When I read it, I heard it actually. I listened to it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about how my wife would take that.
Yeah, me too.
And I was thinking, I hope she's in the right frame of mind when she reads this or hears this. Because it's real, but it can sound a little,
Yeah.
it's kind of black and white, you know,
Yeah.
in some ways.
Yeah. When he's talking about insight, what's he talking about? Let's do a quick description of what overall, what is he saying? You can look at it in the chapter there and see it. What's he trying to say?
Appreciating his desire to feel learning and counsel.
Yeah. To analyze and counsel. So why is he bringing this up?
Because men want to fix and help.
Say that again?
Because men want to fix and help.
Okay, so guys, yeah, it's kind of we're bad about that, to be honest. We want to fix it. If there's a problem, we want to fix it. We want to help it and be done with it as well. Okay?
I think, not from a marriage standpoint, but from a parenting standpoint, like, one of our children is really good about asking me what she should do. And then I'll tell her what she should do, and then she doesn't do it. And I'm like, it would be better if you just left me out of this loop, because I get so frustrated. Why are you bringing me into this if you're not going to listen? It's almost it's offensive.
Yeah, so
To ask someone their advice, and instead of saying, don't say, what should I do if you're not going to do what I told you to do?
So that bothers you.
It bothers me a lot.
Okay. Can that happen even within our marriages?
Yes, but it's not my wife. I want to be very clear about that.
We'll take you out for lunch, okay? All right. Anybody who gets in trouble, we go out for lunch by ourselves. It's fine. We just got to get there before everybody else. But Joe Taco is pretty much Church of Christ till 12:15. We're fine. So that is actually that's a really solid point. Do I consult my wife? Do I go to her to get counseling and to make decisions? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think we pretty much make most of our decisions jointly.
Yeah. Now, the reason I do is because her mind works so much differently than mine. Okay, I'm the creative, I come up with an idea, and I'm PR, so I have that personality. But she's the other side of, if you can put a spreadsheet in front of her all day, she's like, yay! And I'm like, ugh, right? So she's that person. She's organized. She's finance. She's that. I'm the spender. She's the saver. And so I do go to her. I ask her a lot of these things. She is a smart person. And what I actually found myself doing throughout our marriage is just saying, I'll just listen to her and she'll just do it. Does that happen to anybody else? Whatever Sally says that's what I'm going to do. What's the problem within that? It's not because, look, I'm not giving up control. That's not my issue or anything. It's actually what he talked about this, when I've been thinking about it and listening to it several different times, I'm like, you know what? My insight's not a part of this anymore. And what happens in that moment is that I'm not a part of this anymore. You see, are you hearing me? What are you thinking when you hear this?
Well, also, if that decision goes poorly, you can then you're solely blamed on the other person.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's what they said. So it's not really taking responsibility for that, your part in the decision.
Okay, yeah, so I'm taking myself out, so if it doesn't work, I can blame Sally. I never do that, ever. Okay?
Does it also come across like you don't care?
Sure. And you know what my wife wants? She wants me to be that spiritual leader, and she wants me to take lead. I mean, those are the words that she has said to me several different times. She wants me to be a part of these decisions. She wants me to be there, but it's just easy. Hey, don't you have this saying, happy wife, happy? So what does that actually mean? It actually doesn't mean I'm going to make her happy. What does it actually mean?
It also means if Mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
Preach on, brother. You want to keep going with that? That's fine. But what does that do for this what he's been talking about, this insight and having a desire to be a part of these decisions that we have in making in our families?
I think that the wife wants to be a part of the decision,
Sure.
and I think that's what makes them happy.
Okay. Absolutely. If we're
Using your intuition, I think that you tend to have
Yeah, how did you feel when he wrote about that in the chapter, when he actually went against that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like women just do have that intuition. I have like a moment intuition.
Okay.
I just have it.
Anybody else want to, because he talked about that in the chapter, right? Women's intuition. So what did he say about that in the chapter? You're going to have to flip those pages faster and speed read it.
The harder, manlier thing to do is to make sure that you're applying insight in every decision that family makes.
Okay.
The easy thing to do is to let her have the way so that you don't have to face any gruff or any difficulty. That's the smooth, easy path you're going to take, and we take it many times.
Yeah,
Most of us do.
and I think that's the direction I was going with the happy wife, happy life. What did you say? If she's not happy, nobody's happy. It's easier. I want to just keep peace, so I'll just do what you want. And what actually happens is that the more we do that, the more we take ourselves out of that, I think it actually hurts this relationship that we have with our wife. The more I do that and just say, it really doesn't matter, whatever you want, just go ahead and do it. It's just, what happens, ladies, on your end? How do you feel about it? I'm getting another cup of coffee. You can discuss. How do you feel about it? If your husband just backs out and he doesn't really want to contribute and you're just going to go ahead and make the decision, how do you feel?
for me, sometimes if I feel like I'm making every decision, it can get exhausting.
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean, even from little ones, I mean, where are we gonna eat?
We're not bringing that up.
All the way up to it is. I remember when I used to work in the counseling office at the high school, and those first few days, and it was schedule changes, and I did 525 schedule changes in a day, and I remember coming home and going, I don't want to make one more decision today. I don't care what we do. I don't care what you decide to do. Just don't make me make one more decision today.
Pizza it was that night, kids. Pizza it was.
I had to make a decision.
Well, in terms of in the business, and I've worked with some of these people, you're kind of like yes men, you know, where you know, spots come up with something and they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. And if they would have stood up and been like, you know, maybe we should change this area, you know, what it produces, I mean, yes, it keeps the peace and everyone's happy and the boss is happy with that person because obviously he's agreeing with, that's an ego boost, which is good for them, you know, when you're the boss. But you get a better product when you have somebody that, when they say yes to one of your ideas, you know it's a good idea. And when they say no, you can get a better product because they may have pointed out some flaw or an area that you missed, that now you get a better, building, because that's what I was, because of it.
Yeah.
And so you have more respect for somebody who will tell you no, and somebody who always tells you, yes when you want to hear all the time.
Okay.
I know when Michael involves me even in his work decisions, because I stay at home, I feel like I just wipe noses and change diapers all day long, so it gives me opportunity to, I love being a mother, but it makes me feel good that I can do something besides take care of little people all day long, and gives me an opportunity to feel smart and
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah, so if men are actually doing couple, there is involvement, right? And make sure we understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying not involved. I want to make sure you hear involved. Those decisions, every decision that we've made, when I said this to you in this class, before coming to university, this was not my decision. It was our decision, right? But guys, when I allow myself not to have my insight, and it's just easier not to put my insight, there's less within the marriage there. My insight is important. And maybe I come up with something that, you know, I kind of told you that because of Sally's personality and characteristics, I really rely on those. But you know what? What I realized through talking through these moments and these decisions and trying to be a family and a marriage, she really relies on my characteristics. Okay, I just needed the nod. I'm good. But she relies on that too because I see things very different. And I don't see linear. I'm like, let's go crazy, right? And so there's that balance that we talk about with one another. Let me ask you this. When a decision is going to be made and it doesn't go with what you wanted, how do you handle it? Either side. How do you handle it? Honestly. Do I need to turn it?
I think the first thing that I ask myself is this something that, what's the downside of going with what Heather wants?
Okay.
And if I can't answer that honestly, then most of the time it's just that my pride got hurt, that we're not doing what I want. And that's not a good reason to do that.
Okay.
Make you think about something. I mean, sometimes you have to realize that that's okay.
Okay, yeah, so make sure it's not our pride and everything. Okay.
I was just gonna say, just the last couple of things that we've been talking about right here, just brings to mind to me how much it relates to what we do in the church. How we handle things in the church too, and how they go together so much, because what do we do when a decision's made in the church and we get mad and we get our feelings hurt? How do we handle that? How do we handle, you know, the insight and the analyzing counsel and the authority, I mean, everything goes together, and you can see that in these, you know, the points that we're making right now, how we've talked about Jesus and our wives in the church and how it relates to the church. And it just makes me think about how important it is to get this right.
Yeah.
Because it's important not just in your relationship with each other, but about how the church is.
Good. Good relate. Yep.
I think with us, there's a knee jerk first,
Yeah.
and then a numbing, so to speak. And
A
then
numbing.
And then a step back and an analyzation kicks in, and introspect, you know,
Yes.
why did I have a knee jerk? How did my expectations need to be aligned?
Good. What's the knee jerk look like? Without going into much detail.
Speaking for herself.
I'm a-
We have knee jerks, trust me.
I'm more like Sally, I'm an analytical spreadsheet.
But that knee jerk is, yeah.
That's all that's all I needed there. Thank you. Thank you for being honest. I think that's a normal thing, and I'm glad we're saying that. There's those moments when we take a moment, we look at what's going on, and the decision doesn't go really our way, what we thought should happen, and there's that knee jerk. It could be what you were saying earlier, Lance. It could be my pride that I got to put to the side and go, you know what? I've listened, and this is the direction we need to go in. I got to put my pride to the side. But I like what you're saying, though. Yes, a normal reaction is knee jerk, but then you can step away and work through it. And that's important there, that we understand that we need to work through it. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was just thinking, Proverbs 27:17 comes to mind. As iron sharpens iron, so as one man sharpens another.
Right.
And I think if we can get completely rid of self, we can take those decisions that don't go our way as lessons of ways that our wife is sharpening us and making us a better husband.
Okay.
You know, one thing that I'm sitting here thinking, I think this is one of those things that the more work you do before the decision has to be made, it makes it simpler. Because I think I can see in the longer that we've been married, the more we communicate, the more most of our thoughts pretty much line up.
Mm-hmm.
So when big decisions, like if we're going to move or something, come, we both almost already know what the other one is going to think. And I can really only think of a few times when a decision was made that maybe I didn't agree with.
How did you handle it? You can tell. Wait.
There's only one that I'm thinking of, and it was years ago, and I wanted to go to the elders for something at our previous place, and you told me
Brought
no.
that one up, really?
And I was not happy that I did not get to do that and say my piece. But, you know, with time, I look back and I understand, okay, this is why. This is why he did not want me to do that, and I'm glad that I didn't do it.
I'm glad you didn't do it either at that time.
I think in like what some people have said, especially what Sally said, when you need the other person to balance you out, and the knee jerk, it's where one of you has a strong emotion in the decision needing to be made, and your emotion is swaying you to lean one way or the other without
Okay.
hearing the reason
Right.
on the other side.
I like it.
Can I take a step back based on that comment?
Sure.
So I think I didn't like the no longer believing totally woman intuition. That bothered me because I've learned in 12 years, Rachel has a deep intuition, and it's right a lot.
Don't agree with it. Don't.
But I had to read that section like 3 times to understand what I think he was trying to say.
Yes.
I think what he was trying to say is that's not the only way.
Right.
You need to listen to the counsel of your husband.
Right.
And so it's powerful. So to not believe that it is a thing.
Yes.
But it's not the only way, and I think that needs to be remembered because, typically one partner is more emotional than the other on most things. The other one's more logical. There needs to be that communication and reasoning back and forth. So use that intuition. Hear your wife out. Come back and think about your logical side. Then come together and make a decision.
Yeah.
Well, in the title of the section, it says, I no longer totally believe in women's intuition. And like, I think that's exactly what you're saying, is that there's a balance between what a husband can bring to the decision-making process and what a wife can bring to the decision-making process.
Yeah.
And it may be that in some marriages, it's the man, the husband that has the intuition and the wife that has the logic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's just,
Every marriage is different in that way. Yeah, absolutely.
and I think, you know, the thing is both partners have to remember that their way of approaching a problem is not necessarily the only way to approach a problem.
Right.
Whether it's intuition or logic, whichever one you're stronger in, that doesn't mean the other one doesn't have merit.
Right. And, you know, when I went through this and I tried to take a step back and go, okay, what is he talking about, right? What does a man want in the relationship? He wants respect. And one of the things that we need to understand, and what he's trying to tell us, okay, is it's all based on that respect. Instead of just saying, my opinions, you know, I have greater insight or I have a greater whatever it is, I think what he's trying to say to the wives in this whole chapter is, it's not that you're less or anything like that, but it's like, he needs to have the insight on this as well. He needs to be a part of this, because this is what we want. It's this deeper instinct within this of, we make decisions every single day, all the time. Remember the example that he used? It was a letter that a lady, one of the wives wrote, and she showed up at his work. And I'm making decisions every day, but I don't get insight within my family. So we want that insight, right? And I think that's what he's talking about. And this goes a great distance. If you don't agree with me, I'm going to make you pay. But let me tell you, I've had couples in my office. It's my way, buddy. And if I'm not happy, I'll make you unhappy. That goes out the door, right? Because, and one thing, and we're going to quit right now. He does talk about it very briefly, like, man, how do you approach someone saying, hey, I know we're about to make this, whatever this decision is, this insight on what we're doing. Man, I thought about this. How do you come to that discussion when it doesn't really hurt or upset the other person, right? But you have to go back to what he's been saying all the way through this book. I look at Sally and say, she's a well-intentioned, godly woman, and that she respects me. So when she comes to me and says, hey, John, can we talk about this? I'm not, no? Yeah, what do you need? Let's talk about it. Let's work through this. She needs to understand that I love her as I love Christ. As Christ has loved me. Literally, I will die for you. I will do everything I can. I'm not perfect at it, but that's what I'm working towards. So when I do have insight in these things, when I'm trying to lead our family, when I'm trying to protect, my work is important to me. She looks at me and she goes, he's a well-intent, godly man trying to do his best. And when you come to into these decisions and talk about these things right here, it really helps through the situations. Are you not going to have a knee-jerk? Well, I guarantee I'm a knee-jerk guy as well, and I need to work through that. But you have that opportunity to work through it. Make sense? I do not look forward to next week, because you know what the next two are, right? Anybody read the book?
Relationship and sexuality.
Huh?
Relationship and sexuality.
Yeah. Relationship, I did not understand at all. Did any guy get it? Any guy in here? Do you read it? Don't skip it. It's so stupid. I don't understand. And I'm a guy. It's about my wife just being with me, like sitting there, not saying anything. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't even know what the guy was talking about in the book. Skip it. And you're teaching next week. I didn't see that coming, did you? Because I do not want to talk about that subject again in this class, all right? I need somebody to pray for our marriages, and then we are out of here. Can I get a volunteer? Anybody?
Sure, I would.
You're not wheezing out of my sermon.
Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this time that we can share with each other. Sometimes it's easy to talk about, sometimes it's hard, but as long as we're looking toward you and we're seeing how Christ was, that we can follow and the examples. And thank you so much for us being able to listen to each other and to learn from each other. And thank you for John for doing this and for providing this avenue that we can come together and share with each other. Father, we ask you to be with everybody that's on the road during this holiday time. Bring them back to us safe and give us a good week. And it's in your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.